Now, have you heard the term stealthing? If you've got children or grandchildren, or perhaps you're even just starting to date yourself, then you really do need to know about this. It's a term used to describe a shocking new trend that's on the rise, apparently. Stealthing is when a man secretly takes off a condom during sex without his partner knowing about it. Yes, shocking. Some lawyers have argued that this is actually sexual assault, some even going as far as to say it is rape. Never heard of it myself. When they talked about this morning, I went, I've never heard of it.
Never heard.
We've got teenagers.
Yeah, exactly.
Didn't know.
Never heard of it. As a parent, I mean, my kids are not in that kind of area of sexual activity yet, but absolutely petrified. Made me feel I don't know what's going on in the world. I don't know what Tinder is. I mean, I've heard of it, but I don't know how you use it. So really, really worrying. And what's worrying to me is it sexual assault? Is it rape? I mean, and why would you go online and boast about doing something like that? I mean, why would you do that? It just doesn't comprehend. And just legally, because I just thought, oh, this is so... We need to know legally where we stand. According to Charity Rape Crisis, if someone consents to a specific sexual act with you using contraception and you change the terms of that agreement mid-act, then it's classed as a sexual offence. So basically, in non-legal language, if a man agrees to have sex with you wearing a condom and he removes it without telling you, that consent no longer exists, and then they would classify that as rape.
Well, so interestingly, this morning when we were talking about it, my initial reaction, I went, oh, well, I think, the rape's a bit strong. I'm not sure that's rape. But then actually, as the morning's gone on and I've been thinking about it and reading things, I think, well, actually, you're right, because it's about consent, isn't it?
It is, yeah.
You have said...
Changing the terms.
It's changing the terms.
Does it work both ways, though? Like, for girls that say, oh, it's OK, I'm on the pill, and then they find out they're not on the pill.
I suppose it should.
It should work
It should,
both ways.
I mean, what I also don't really understand is what do these people that are boasting about it, what do they gain from it? Because they are also at risk of getting an infection or maybe ending up with a baby that they're not, bought in on. I don't really understand that side of it either.
There has been in Switzerland in January, a man was convicted of rape after he did this, and the court said that the woman would have said no to sex if she knew the condom had been removed or was going to be removed. Therefore, that was a sexual assault, therefore he'd raped. So he was... I mean, nobody's been convicted here. And this seems to be the problem. They're saying that a lot of people might come away from a situation like that not knowing, kind of thinking, what's just happened? Have I been sexually assaulted?
Well, also...
Because I had consented.
I did consent to
sex.
Yes.
Isn't it?
Yeah.
Because if a girl, for example, says, well, he took the condom off and that, for me, is not what I agreed to. And he might go, yes, you did.
Yeah.
So, what I have since learned this morning in my old-fashioned way is that there are now consent apps, believe it or not.
Oh.
Yes, there are. I know.
Sex is like a business deal.
It is. So We Consent is an app which invites partners. You film a 20-second video, each of you, stating the name of the person you're about to have sex with, if indeed you know it, and recording the faces of both parties. And that then gets logged onto a 7-year encrypted record of a mutual yes, which is available only to law enforcement.
I would have gone home by then.
But, yeah, to be honest...
I'm like, talking about
we are all laughing at that, but we have sat on here and talked about these cases where people have been accused of rape. Their lives have been ruined. They've been at university. I mean, universities now are starting to do consent classes, and people saying, should it be compulsory? So, we're kind of laughing because it's so alien to our generation, particularly. But it is, I would worry about my son now.
Well, I was going to say,
going out into the world and thinking, well, these things can happen to you, and you would then be on a register, having assaulted somebody.
I was going to say, though, you're saying we're all laughing about it, and we are, because it just seems like this whole business deal now. But having said that, as a mother, I worry myself sick with my 2 boys, and indeed with Kira as well, that I think I want them to know all about this and follow it.
How do you start talking? I mean, you're lucky because we talk to our children openly. What do you do if you're a parent that finds this sort of subject difficult
well, I
to
think
talk?
That's why schools have to be a combination between schools and home, because, like, you're right, a lot of people find it very difficult to talk about. And actually, Jack's school, they're really good. They send, every so often, we'll get emails and they'll tell us about apps that they're concerned about. They sent one just this week. I can't remember the name of the app. I wish I could. It's called something like Say What or Say Something, and where people can go on anonymously and tell you what they think about you. Well, you can imagine how people are using that. They're not going on to say, I think you're lovely and I love your hair. They're using it, you know, to say really horrible things.
Well, I think it's a shame as well, because you were saying there that, you know, you're going to educate Jack and you're talking about your sons. And it's sort of I wouldn't want to be the mother of sons, because I think the emphasis is very much on the boys. Yeah. And, you know, and I think girls also have to take a certain amount of, you know, stealthing is a different matter. But universities, you know, you talk about these consent workshops, a lot of the male students are going, excuse me, I don't need a lesson in consent, thank you very much. Exactly. I know exactly what is yes and what is no.
Well, that's why we're saying about does it work both ways? Because I know girls that have said, well, she said she was on the pill and she wasn't.
But do you remember the 1980s when HIV and AIDS was about? We had a public campaign. Every single person in this country growing up in the 80s, we knew you have to wear a condom. We have to wear a condom. And I just think this is a new generation. I just think the government should spend some money and educate everyone.